I'm kind of making up this term, but like, have you guys ever set up like an anti-goal? In other words, like defining something that you repel away from, like the vision to be this, but we don't want it to be this. And you don't need to say specifically what that would be, but is there ever any times where you have defined like, we don't want to be like this company or this product, or we don't want to fall down this trap? It's going to help you guys know when you are kind of moving away from your more important goals.
Yeah. No, yeah, like I have a great answer for that one. I think within a couple months of us launching ActionVFX, we already had different studios reaching out to us to essentially shoot assets for them and stuff. And that was kind of one of the things at that very beginning where it's almost like temptation, right? Because it's like, man, this studio want us to do stuff, custom stuff for them. And it's like the thought is very exciting and you want to go after that. But at the end of the day, again, that's why having a vision is really good and very crucial. Is we knew, no, like the plan was to build the best and largest library in the world. And like, I just knew that if we're already getting distracted and being pulled two ways, like, oh, we're going to be a service business, oh, we're going to be a product business, then I mean, we're a small team, like we wouldn't be able to do both, and we wouldn't be able to do the one that we were doing, which was the product business, as successful as we did. So that was definitely one of those things very early on. Had to kind of step our foot down and know that, hey, we're not going to be chasing every opportunity. We're going to do this one thing. And it's like over time, as the company grows, we're still stuck to that, still seeing most of the plan being for us to keep growing our library, keep bringing on different asset types, and keep doing different things. Now that we've grown a bit, we're a bit more open with the idea of potentially having a service branch in the future. But it was definitely very important that we stuck to our guns of what we're actually trying to do, and not simply be enamored with just the potential of, oh, we could work with this studio. And then, well, we could have done that, but then we would have to keep doing that instead of building this massive thing that we've done. So
that's really wise, because again, you can't focus on scale if you're suddenly focusing on clients. So it's more about serve the many, not the few. I think originally I had told you guys early on, like, hey, you guys could create like a whole service-based industry. And I think a few years later, I thought about that again. I was like, you guys made the right decision around that, because again, that is what's going to really stump your growth if suddenly you are focusing on all your attention on one client versus looking at how do we solve everyone's problems and really fit into the bigger ecosystem. So again, I think you guys are really smart to have avoided the shiny objects, even if they do appeal at one certain point.
Thanks. Yeah. And even to just because, I mean, obviously most people nowadays are pretty big on data-driven decisions. And if you're not, you should be, because it's great. Like putting out some feelers for what studios would be willing to pay for those kinds of things and our production time. That was an instant like, okay. Because it's like, could you shoot this custom thing for the show? Our budget's $2,000. And I'm like, $2,000?
Our product's $2,000. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like you could just license. I don't know. But that was easier to help make those decisions. The nature of what we do, right? It's like guns, explosions, fire, brah! Like, so trying to find a good balance of, I mean, we want our effects to be real as possible. And so there's that whole side of needing to have like practical firearms and explosives and pyrotechnicians and all of that. But on the flip side of that, it's we were also approached by some different like military contractors that were wanting to essentially previs for their missiles that they were selling using our stuff. And so that became an ethical question for us of how do we operate in a way that, I mean, and there's always like someone could license something from our website. We don't know who they are because they can purchase through there. But is that something we're willingly going to pursue in that sense of we are strictly entertainment? And so how do we also communicate that? Because then you have all these like different governments that are wanting info and it's like, I don't really know how we feel about this. So that was another one for us where we really see, in terms of like action stuff, like it's entertainment value. To take that a step further, it's how can we provide much more safer on-set environments for people to avoid tragic situations where people have live firing guns and they come into these avoidable situations that always end terribly. And the fact that we can shoot these things in a closed environment with no people in danger, no one standing in front of these firearms, we're able to capture the real effects. They're able to get the benefits of it, but actually double down on the benefits because of their safety. Not to mention budget savings and like what, 9 times out of 10, they're going to enhance that flash anyway by putting one of our things on it. So it's like, let's just save everyone the trouble. But ethically, on that next step, it's like, how do we provide safer environments for productions that are taking place? Because that's big for us too. So the military trying to be not contributing to any wars or anything that's going on, I think has been another ethical thing for us to navigate, because it's day one, like you wouldn't expect all of those different challenges to come up, but they just come up over time, especially with the global presence, because that just continues to influence that.
I think that's really powerful.